This morning for you on Daybreak, a local coffee shop offers some free meals to those in need.
And in Arkansas, flash floods turn deadly after a woman's car is swept away.
Plus, an investigation looking at the fight against infertility and some of the options Springfield families can seek out. We'll have those stories and more coming up this morning for you on Daybreak.
Good morning and thanks for waking up with us to start off a new week. It's Monday, August 26th. I'm Lauren Barnes.
And I'm Joe Moreno. Time to get after it in this final week of the month right now.
Oh my goodness. It's almost September, you're right.
It is, and I was in St. Louis seeing some family and things over the weekend, but great weather there. Just walking outside, it was perfect room temperature.
Well, lucky you.
How was it here?
Not good.
I missed out.
I mean, good if you just want to lay around. I had actually a bachelorette party on Saturday with one of my girlfriends, and we went to the lake. We got rained on and made it fun anyway, but it was raining, yeah.
We had those clouds
Really?
stick around all weekend, temperatures in the 70s, got downpoured on yesterday. So, yeah, you're welcome.
All right, yeah. All right, it was fun for me, guys. Sorry about that.
Okay, good for you.
We don't. Is this going to linger around at all or not?
We'll have a quiet afternoon today, warm, humid, couple of clouds, and then a severe threat comes through late this evening and overnight. We're starting out quiet this morning with just a couple of clouds out there, dry roads, again, just pretty warm and humid, and I think it's going to stay pretty quiet through much of the afternoon. It's 68 degrees in Branson, 72 in Springfield, and 72 in Fort Leonard. Dew points are right behind those temperatures in the lower 70s, so it is really thick out there again this morning, uncomfortable and oppressive on that Mungy-meter map. So we're looking at dry roads through most of the afternoon today. You'll get to and from work and school more or less fine. Then we're looking at very, very late evening commute could be wet as those showers and storms come in from the north and west. So by dismissal, 87 degrees and partly cloudy, still warm and still humid. Then late evening and overnight, these showers and storms roll through with an enhanced risk of severe weather in the orange, meaning some of these storms will be strong to severe. So we've got to talk about timing and threats of that. Then the rest of the work week looks pretty quiet. Your full forecast is up in 10 minutes.
We begin this morning with a local business doing some good for the community.
Our aim is to help the impoverished in our community.
True Brew in Ava. It's a coffee shop that's part business, part soup kitchen. It's owned and operated by Bread of Life Giving and Sharing, and customers can walk in and pay for a meal, or if they can't afford it, can point to a card on the tables that offers a free meal instead. All the money made from paying customers goes to the meals to those that can't afford, and Tom Martinsick explains the process is also done quietly.
There's a stigma associated sometimes with soup kitchens, and so we kind of meld it together so anybody can walk in here, point to a card on the table or up here at the register, and their meal's no charge. And so they maintain their dignity, and we keep it quiet.
What a neat idea. It's also your right to know this morning. Customers are dealing with the aftermath of Hy-Vee's recent data breach. Earlier this month, you might remember Hy-Vee announced customers' card info had been hacked at some of the chain's fuel pumps, restaurants, and coffee shops. Well, now that info is being sold online. Card information for a customer is being sold anywhere from $17 to $35 each. Hy-Vee shared in a statement they're aware that the information is being sold and are working to notify banks. The company operates more than 240 stores across the Midwest region.
After searching for hours Saturday night, a man's body has been found at Lake of the Ozarks. 23-year-old Sean Burgess jumped into the water while watching the shootout race on the lake and never came back up. According to the Highway Patrol, a dive team recovered his body shortly before 11 Saturday night.
In Joplin, flash floods took the life of a 13-year-old boy. The boy was walking near a drainage ditch Saturday morning when he fell in and was swept away by the water. Officers found the boy near a bridge and were able to get him out, but he later died in the hospital.
Flash floods also turned deadly in Arkansas as a woman died in Fort Smith after her car was taken away by the water. 47-year-old Deborah Stevens was delivering newspapers when this happened.
The vehicle was present for a good 30 minutes or so, and then over time, you just seen the lights, the dome lights, everything disappear.
Police have not said if she tried to drive through the water or if it just caught her off guard. They believe Stevens wasn't able to get out of her vehicle in enough time. Area residents explain that their issues have become secondary now to keeping the Stevens family in their thoughts during this tough time.
but she had her whole life in front of her, and I really am so sad for what the family has to deal with right now.
1 in 8 women struggles with infertility. Numbers from the CDC show 7.3 million Americans have used infertility services. While many companies are adding those services to healthcare plans, a lot of insurance companies don't cover it, leaving some couples going deep into debt trying to have a child. In this Color 10 investigation, our Heather Lewis looks at the options, cost, and outcomes of women in Springfield determined to grow their families.
The sound of a baby crying, something Angela Crawford waited 3 years to hear.
I definitely am one of the lucky ones, but if you'd known me with the 3 years that we were trying, you would not have called me the lucky one.
The journey of infertility was not one Angela and her husband were expecting. After all, about 85% of couples will be able to conceive after 12 months of trying. That's according to Dr. Mary Duff with the Farrell Duncan Clinic.
Things like endometriosis, uterine fibroids, polycystic ovarian syndrome, or simply very irregular menstrual cycles. For any of those things, you should be coming in as soon as you're open to conception. There's no need to wait 12 months.
The first step is evaluating the couple, making sure the woman is ovulating.
Did some labs, and she noticed that my progesterone was low, so then we tried this medication 1 month, and then we adjusted it the next month, and adjusted things the next month. Turns out I have PCOS. Also throughout our journey, we got my husband a test at one point in time. The urologist said he was fine, just take some vitamin D. Well, when we got further into testing with our reproductive endocrinologist, he actually had low motility, and it was a bigger concern than what we were led to believe.
In fact, the CDC shows infertility is about 8% a male factor. In June of 2015, at the age of 30, Angela and her husband decided to start in vitro fertilization.
I had checked with my insurance and I learned that I had coverage, which is nice because IVF procedures cost in the ballpark of $25,000 just for the procedure that normally doesn't include meds.
Common infertility expenses include genetic testing, semen analysis, fertility drugs, intrauterine insemination, in vitro fertilization, frozen embryo transfer, assisted reproductive technology, and storing frozen embryos. It took about 7 months for Angela to go through the process.
To prepare myself, because they had to do labs on me and ultrasounds, to do the injections. And keep in mind, when I did my round of IVF, I had to go up to St. Louis every other day for about 3 weeks just to have a blood draw.
Washington University was one of the few hospitals in network with Angela's insurance, but it's in St. Louis, which is 3 hours away.
I did the math because there was also some lost wages. I had to take PTO for this, or I would just take unpaid time from work.
With insurance, one IVF treatment costs Angela $2,400 out of pocket. Lost wages, $2,100, for a total of about $4,500. Invoices from the hospital and missing work, though, might not compare to the emotional and physical toll the process takes.
Well, if you have a fear of needles, you get over it pretty quickly because you're doing 2 to 3 injections a day. These are all hormone medications. And so you take a person that's already in a pretty rough emotional state, and then you just throw hormones on top of that, and it can really just crank things up to an 11. It makes things really hard and depressing.
Flash forward to today, and the aches and pains of the process don't compare to the joy of being a mother to not 1 but 2 children, all thanks to successful in vitro fertilization. In Springfield, Heather Lewis, Ozarks First.
So that's the positive results from someone who went through in vitro fertilization. But what happens when the first round is unsuccessful or insurance doesn't cover it at all? You may be surprised to learn about some of the options available. Heather has part 2 of this story coming up tonight.
We're just getting started here this Monday morning for you. Still ahead, President Trump says he may regret the most recent round of tariffs on China.
And lobsters have become a hot commodity in the trade war. Your Money Watch is next.
From Color 10 Ozarks First, Lauren Barnes, Joe Morano, and weather with meteorologist Elisa Raffa. This is Color 10 News Daybreak.